Okay, let's unpack the story now with Chris Doyle. He is in London and is the director of the Council for Arab-British Understanding. Very good evening to you, sir. First of all, what was your reaction to hearing the announcement?
Well, first of all, like everybody else, one has a degree of cautious optimism that this can actually result in the end of the atrocities, the horror that has been visited upon Gaza, the release of those hostages, and God only knows what it's like to be held for that long, over 465 days. And of course, the release of Palestinian detainees that have been held in Israeli detention centers, many of whom have been tortured, some even raped. So the fact that all of this may be, at least at this stage, coming to an end is obviously cause for hope for so many, both Israeli and Palestinians. But at the same time, I have to say that that is tempered by a lot of anger. We're seeing here even President Biden saying that this is the same deal that he put forward last May, that Hamas actually agreed to in July, and that for all of these months that the United States was not willing, it certainly was able to, cajole these parties to making a deal when so many lives could have been saved, so many lives need not have been shattered during all of this time. So it's a bittersweet moment, because I think for the people of Gaza, they're going to wake up tomorrow and they're going to look at an enclave that has been utterly decimated, at a situation where so many legal bodies have come to the conclusion that what has been happening has been a genocide committed by the state of Israel, the deliberate starvation of a civilian population. And it's such a savage indictment of the major international actors that they were not able to stop this so much earlier. But now, at least, their duty, their utter duty to even recover a scintilla of credibility and decency, is to make sure that this agreement goes through, not just phase 1, but phases 2 and 3. And that does eventually lead to a proper resolution of the underlying issues. This is something, and in all the previous Israeli wars on Gaza, hasn't happened. So it means that we need some tenacious diplomacy to get this to hold, to go forward, so that we can actually really get to a situation when we can actually talk about a real climate of peace between Israelis and Palestinians, and two peoples really being able to live together. Because at the moment, it's looking a million miles away, even with the scenes that we see on your screens now, the hope, that very delicate and fragile moment that we have now.
Chris, you mentioned a moment ago that this looks like a deal that's been around for several months, that Hamas had already agreed to, that Israel hadn't agreed to. So what has changed, do you think? Why would Israel accept it now? What's the difference?
Well, plenty of reasons, and many point to the imminent arrival in the White House of Donald Trump, that his envoy was far more prepared than Joe Biden to rattle the cages, not just of the Palestinians, but also of the Israeli leadership, and to say this has to end. That was an option for President Biden that he never really did. He never really put proper pressure on the state of Israel, on its leadership, to end this. But I think there are other reasons as well. It's not only that. I think it's been 15 months. Of course, above all, the people in Gaza, those civilians in Gaza, all 2.3 million of them, couldn't have wanted this to end sooner. Of course, they've been freezing to death, dying of disease and starvation. But also, I think what is less commented on, that Israel is also exhausted. That we've seen huge damage to their economy. It's a great cost to their international reputation that has nosedived, and rightly so. And also, I think that just the sheer exhaustion with fighting. Remember, you have so many reservists who've done so many tours of duty in Gaza. And I think, of course, the huge segment of Israeli society who have been desperate to see these hostages released. And they've also, let me be clear, been betrayed in all of this, because they have been lobbying and protesting against the Netanyahu government, knowing full well that he hasn't really tried to get them released, that they've also been let down by that American presidency as well, because that deal should have been achieved, in the middle of last year by the latest. They should never have been taken, but they should have been out so much earlier. And so many would have survived if that had been done.
Chris, greatly appreciate your time and expertise. Chris Doyle is the Director of the Council for Arab-British Understanding. Thank you.
Thank you.